On Halloween night 2021, the maze of madness in rural Iowa drew hundreds of families eager for a night of harmless fear. 16-year-old Dylan Price adjusted his Grim Reaper robe, grinning beneath a plastic mask as wind rippled the dry stalks around him. The maze corridors were narrow, lined with plywood panels and hanging cobweb props that brushed against every passerby. A distant thunderclap echoed, and the overhead string lights flickered while groups of visitors laughed nervously nearby. Dylan crouched, ready to leap out, but a sudden gust knocked one of the plywood walls loose behind him. He turned as people screamed from another path. Part of the fence had collapsed, pushing the crowd toward his narrow lane. Dylan waved, yelling, "Wrong way!" but his voice vanished beneath the noise of footsteps and rising panic. The first shove hit him hard, pinning his arm against the wall as people flooded the narrow path. He tried climbing the side wall, but his robe snagged on a nail jutting from the board. Someone fell into him. The plywood cracked and the wall toppled, burying Dylan and several others beneath. The maze lights snapped off, leaving only muffled screams and the hollow sound of creaking wood. Outside, staff laughed, thinking it was all part of the performance, unaware of the chaos inside. A short circuit sparked near Dylan's section, sending blue-white arcs along the extension cord beneath dry stalks. The flames spread fast, turning the corridor into a tunnel of smoke and flickering light. Firefighters arrived minutes later, spraying jets of water over what looked like a burning maze skeleton. Dylan was found near the center, robe still tangled around the broken frame, mask melted into his face. Two other victims were rescued alive but in critical condition, both suffering from crush and smoke injuries. On October 31st, 2022, a rural farm in Nebraska hosted a popular haunted hayride, drawing families eager for thrills. Teenagers climbed onto the back of the wagon, giggling under masks, unaware the old wooden cart had weak planks. A gust of wind toppled one lantern onto dry hay, sparking a fire that spread faster than anyone could react. Riders screamed as the wagon lurched forward, the wooden frame snapping under the combined weight and chaos. One teen fell through a broken plank and landed awkwardly, trapped between the wheel and hay bales. Flames licked the edges of the hay, smoke thickening, obscuring faces as panic spread among the riders. Parents watching from the sidelines screamed, unable to reach the moving wagon quickly enough. The operator lost control as the wagon struck a shallow ditch, flipping several riders into the air. Teenagers and children hit the ground hard, some trapped under hay bales, others rolling into the dirt path. Smoke quickly enveloped the area, making it impossible to see the injured as the flames climbed higher along the wagon edges. Emergency services arrived moments later, spraying water to contain the blaze and rescue trapped victims. Dylan's younger cousin was pulled from beneath a hay bale, coughing and covered in soot but alive. One teen suffered broken ribs and minor burns, while another lay unconscious until paramedics stabilized them. The hayride was completely destroyed, the wooden frame charred, smoke rising into the darkening sky. Investigators later found that the fire was accidental, caused by a lantern tipping onto dry hay in the narrow wagon. Families mourned the lost sense of safety, while survivors recounted the terrifying chaos of the night. Emergency guidelines were updated, banning open flames on hay rides and enforcing weight limits for future rides. On Halloween night 2019, the Silver Grove Carnival in rural Ohio was bustling with children and families, all drawn to the brightly lit attractions. The centerpiece was a large carousel decorated with ornate horses, twisted metal rails, and dim flickering bulbs along the roof. About 40 visitors, mostly children, crowded onto the ride, laughing and unaware of the structural rust eating through the support beams. As the ride spun faster, a loud snap echoed when a major support beam gave way beneath the weight of the riders. Horses tilted violently to one side, throwing children onto the hard wooden platform and some over the edge of the ride. Screams filled the air as parents tried to grab their children, but the chaotic motion made rescue impossible in the first seconds. A group of 5 children fell together, landing near the center post, which then buckled under the combined weight. The wooden platform cracked completely, sending several more children and adults tumbling into the dirt and onto nearby candy stalls. Parents desperately tried to catch their children as screams of terror mixed with the loud crash of broken wood. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, working quickly to lift broken planks and assist injured children. Several children suffered fractured limbs and concussions, while a few had serious internal injuries requiring hospitalization. Investigators later determined that the metal bolts had rusted through over time, weakening the carousel structure. The carnival was immediately shut down, cordoned off with police tape as families gathered outside in shock. Survivors described the sensation of being thrown through the air, likening it to a nightmare come alive. One young girl clung to a horse handle, narrowly avoiding being crushed by a falling wooden plank. Parents were shaken, some crying openly, while others tended to minor cuts and bruises on their children. The local government implemented strict ride inspections for all mobile carnival attractions following the incident. Halloween would never be the same at Silver Grove Carnival, leaving a permanent mark of fear and caution among the community. On Halloween night, 2017, the abandoned Whitmore Mansion in Pennsylvania attracted thrill seekers eager for a haunted adventure. A group of 6 teenagers, equipped with masks and flashlights, entered the mansion through a creaking side door. The floor groaned under their weight, warning of the instability of the centuries-old structure. One teen, curious and reckless, stepped on a rotten plank, causing a loud snap that echoed through the empty halls. The floor gave way beneath him, and he plunged into the basement, landing amidst broken furniture and spider webs. The others screamed and tried to pull him up, but the weakened stairwell partially collapsed under their combined effort. Dust filled the air as cobwebs were torn down and wooden beams shifted, creating a suffocating environment. One teen lost balance and fell, knocking over an old oil lamp which immediately ignited the dry wooden floor. Panic spread as fire consumed the main hall, the smoke quickly filling the upper rooms. One teen tried to crawl through a narrow window, only to become stuck, trapped between shattered glass and crumbling wall. The fire intensified, forcing teens to leap through a collapsing doorway to escape the rapidly spreading blaze. Several teens suffered burns and smoke inhalation, leaving the floor and walls charred and blackened. First responders arrived minutes later, carrying victims outside and dousing flames with water hoses. The mansion was declared unsafe, and the local fire department issued a strict warning against trespassing. Investigators later confirmed that years of neglect and dry wooden beams caused the rapid spread of the fire. Families recounted the night as a terrifying lesson in the dangers of exploring abandoned structures. No fatalities occurred, but the psychological trauma left a lasting impact on all participants. The Whitmore Mansion remained a cautionary tale in Pennsylvania, a dark reminder of Halloween's hidden perils. On October 31, 2019, the Cedar Grove Carnival in Ohio was bustling with children laughing and music playing over loudspeakers. Among the attractions was a small Ferris wheel, newly installed and advertised as safe for all ages. Suddenly, a loud creak echoed as one of the wheel's main supports buckled under the weight of a fully loaded cart. The cart tilted violently, sending 2 children and a parent tumbling toward the ground below. Screams filled the air as bystanders ducked and tried to move children out of harm's way. Emergency responders arrived within moments, carrying injured victims away from the chaos. Paramedics assessed the injuries: several fractures, concussions, and minor burns from sparks. One child, clinging to consciousness, held tightly to their stuffed toy as paramedics stabilized them. The carnival operators shut down all rides, cordoning off the area and warning attendees to leave immediately. Families gathered their belongings, consoling frightened children, while security directed the remaining guests away from danger. Investigators later determined the collapse was caused by improper assembly and rusted support bolts that went unnoticed during safety inspections. The ride manufacturer faced legal scrutiny, and the carnival was temporarily closed for full inspection and safety reinforcement. Witnesses recounted the terrifying ordeal, emphasizing the chaos and confusion that spread across the carnival. Children described the spinning cart tilting and the deafening metallic groan that preceded the fall. Local authorities mandated rigorous inspections for all traveling amusement rides across Ohio following the incident. Carnival owners pledged to implement stricter safety measures and employee training for ride assembly and operation. Despite no fatalities, several children required hospitalization, and the memory of the accident lingered in the local community. The Cedar Grove Carnival became a cautionary tale, highlighting that even familiar holiday attractions can hold hidden dangers. On October 31, 2020, families gathered at the Hilltop Pumpkin Farm in Pennsylvania for the annual Haunted Hayride, eager for a spooky night of thrills. The hayride consisted of a flatbed trailer pulled by a tractor, decorated with fake cobwebs, skeletons, and dim lanterns along the sides. As the tractor rounded a sharp bend, the trailer hit a large hidden rock, causing it to lurch violently to the side. Screams echoed through the night as several children were thrown from their hay bale seats onto the wet, uneven ground. One child landed awkwardly, hitting their head on a hay bale, while another twisted their ankle in the soft mud. Parents immediately rushed to secure the remaining children, frantically checking for injuries. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, helping lift the trailer and evacuate the injured to waiting ambulances. The farm owner later admitted that the trailer's axles had been weakened by years of neglect, leading to the collapse under the weight of the passengers.